Good evening. My name is Irgy. Today I'm gonna present my material about analyzing classroom management or organization. Classroom management or organization definition. According to Chandra 2015, classroom management is an activity that uses traditional behavior management techniques recommended for dealing students with disruptive behavior. Teachers should develop caring and supportive relationship for students and organize and administer teaching in a way that optimizes students' access to learning. Classroom management is not only a process that includes various activities between teachers and students, but also in the process of teaching subjects should be aligned with the needs and abilities of students for predetermined teaching goals. Component of classroom management. First is organizing the physical designs. One of the major determining factors of how much time a teacher spends managing and directing students is the physical arrangement of this classroom. Managing seating arrangement is another important point for teacher. Besides their teaching skills, managing to seating arrangement is effective in a language classroom. According to Harmer, there are four seating arrangements. First is orderly rows. Orderly rows means that the teacher works with the whole class. In other words, the teacher has a clear view of all students, and students can see the teacher as a whole. This is necessary when the teacher works with the whole class. Sitting in orderly rows, it is very important to ensure that they are connected to students. 2 is circle and horseshoes. In the horseshoe, the teacher is often placed in the central position, have a much greater opportunity to be close to students. In the circle, the teacher position is outside the circle. Horseshoe and circle arrangement that students have shared an information through talking, eye contact, or expressive body movement. According to Hinton, recommends cluster and horseshoe seating arrangement to make students more active in class discussion and cooperative learning. 3 is the paired table. According to Harmer, the atmosphere in the classroom is less hierarchical than in other environments, as students sit at desks in small groups. It's much easier for teacher to work at the desk while other works. In separate classrooms, students can watch teachers walk around, review students' work, and help them solve problems. 4 is pair sittings. Students can sit in pairs, as suggested by Littlewood in Dan and Julie. In the seating model, students place 2 tables together and it is considered a pair of tables. One table consists of 2 students and each table is far from the other tables. According to Kali, the pair of 2 is a layout that encourages peer communication, and by only working with one peer, the chance of distractions is reduced. Component 2 is establishing rules and routines. According to Garrett, the teacher establishes class rules and routine so that lessons run smoothly and with as few distractions and waste time as possible. In addition to rules, routines is very important for the whole lesson. They show students how to complete common tasks efficiently and systematically. Without a routine, tasks that should be completed almost seamlessly throughout the day take up more time, reducing the time available for classroom. The teacher establishes class rules and routine so that lesson runs smoothly, with as little explanation as possible and as much time as possible. Component 3 is developing relationship. Effective classroom relations managers develop caring and supportive relationship with students and teachers. By having strong relationship with students, the class will be a place for each member to express their feeling and work together. Academic success depends on the close relationships and guidance the teachers and students have with one another. Develop a caring and respectful classroom environment where students respect each other and where academic and social emotional learning can occur as a result. Component 4 is implementing engaging instruction. Engagement teaching is a teaching technique that can increase students' motivation and interest in learning. It is very important for teachers to understand that there is a trade-off between engaging and motivating teaching and effective classroom management. According to Garrett, that the more interesting the lesson, the fewer behavior problems will occur because students actively participate and are interested and are motivated in the lesson. On the other hand, there are certain aspects related to classroom management that should be considered so that teacher can make learning interesting and motivating. Last component is addressing discipline. According to Garrett, the application of this discipline includes treat students, prevent and respond to behavior problems based on the observation of teacher A and B. If there are students who do not follow teacher instruction, the teacher tends to be worried or depressed. The teacher punished by giving treatment such as repeating what the teacher has explained about the material being taught, and the teacher never punishes student physically. If a student interrupts the lesson while the teacher is teaching, the teacher simply calls the student's name and the student stops the activity. So this is my presentation about analyzing classroom management or organization. Let's begin to part 2. So this is the part 2, solving problem. In this slide I have 3 problems. Problem 1 is Mr. Eliezer repeatedly had problem when leading a class discussion with his junior high school students. No matter how involved in the topic the student there were usually several students sitting in the back who would talk, shout out silly answer, and play with objects they had brought from home. So here's the solution for problem 1. Point 1 is rearrange seating to ensure all students are visible and engaged. For example, use shape seating or random grouping. Point 2, use structured discussion techniques. For example, think, pair, share, cold calling to involve all students. Point 3 is set clear rules for participation. For example, raising hands and no shouting. Point 4 is address disruption immediately with non-verbal cues or private reminder. Last point is incorporate engaging activities or debate or role players to keep student interest. Problem 2. Stefano was one of the most provocative and disruptive students Miss Gyanendra had ever taught. Throughout class, he continuously talked to girl and teased student sitting near him. He made inappropriate and sarcastic remarks in response to almost anything Miss Gyanendra said. When confronted by her, Stefano grinned charmingly and responded with exaggerated courtesy to the delight of the other students. So here's a solution for problem 2. Point 1 is move Stefano's seat away from peers who encourage him. Point 2, ignore minor disruption while reinforcing positive behavior. For example, praising when he is on task. Point 3, use private conversation instead of public confrontation to avoid giving him an audience. Point 4, set clear consequences for repeated disruption. For example, timeout, reflection sheet. Last point is build rapport by discussing his interests and giving him leadership roles when appropriate. Problem 3. Miss Yeskiela was concerned about the frequent teasing that had begun in her class. It reached the point where there was constant bickering among the students. They became so angry, began yelling, shouting, and shoving one another during class. For the solution is point 1, establish clear anti-bullying and respect policies with student input. Point 2, teach conflict resolution skills. For example, I statements and active listening. Point 3, use cooperative learning strategies. Group projects with assigned roles to foster teamwork. Point 4, intervene early with meditation when minor teasing occurs. And the last point, implement restorative practice. For example, class meetings to discuss issues and solutions. So that's all my presentation today. I'm sorry if there are any misunderstanding word that I have said from this. Thank you and good evening.